If you're fascinated by stories that make you rethink what it means to be human, if you love science fiction where aliens study us and end up terrified, amazed, or both, then you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more HFY stories that celebrate humanity's wild, untamed spirit. Now settle in. Let's begin. The shuttle's viewport framed a planet-sized swirl of amber clouds, a gas giant rolling endlessly beneath the orbiting station Zanara. Dr. Aaron Voss sat quietly, watching the storm bands twist like muscle fibers under a microscope. He had seen jungles, deserts, and the crushing cold of Earth's poles, but nothing felt as alien as the silence waiting beyond that docking bay. "Human representative, you are cleared for entry," came the smooth, almost melodic voice of the alien docking AI. Its tone reminded Aaron of a choir filtered through water. He grabbed his bag, half scientific instruments, half survival kit, and stepped out as the shuttle's door hissed open. The air aboard Zanara was too clean. It carried none of the background smells of oil, dust, or carbon that made a place feel alive. Every surface gleamed silver white, curved and seamless, as though the ship had been grown instead of built. Watching from the corridor was a group of tall, pale-skinned figures with translucent crests along their heads, the Ressari. Herbivores, Aaron recalled from the briefing. Pacifist scholars who believed violence was a biological flaw. The tallest among them approached, his movements slow and deliberate. "Dr. Aaron Voss," he said, voice deep, almost harmonic. "I am Commander Tarek Kaur, Chief Xenonutritionist of the Ressari Concord. Welcome aboard." Aaron smiled with the easy confidence of a man who'd spent half his life explaining humanity to those who thought they'd seen everything. "Pleasure's mine, Commander. I hear I'm your newest experiment." The Ressari exchanged glances, their pupils dilating in unison. "Not an experiment," Kaur corrected, though the tone was academic, not offended. "A study. Your species has been recently integrated into the Galactic Concord. We require full biological analysis to determine your nutritional classification." "Which means," Aaron said, adjusting his strap, "you're here to figure out what we eat and why." "Precisely," Kaur replied. "Our models classify your biology as omnivorous, but inefficient. You consume substances toxic to most carbon-based life. We wish to understand the evolutionary reasoning behind such chaotic behavior." Aaron grinned. "Well, Commander, you're about to find out just how beautifully chaotic we can be." The tour through Zanara was conducted with clinical precision. Alien scientists floated from station to station, analyzing holographic projections of nutrient chains and enzyme models. Every being wore a translator node that rendered speech into smooth tonal syllables. They whispered about humanity as if discussing a newly discovered fungus, fascinated yet faintly disturbed. At one point, Aaron passed a massive viewing dome where planets shimmered against the darkness. A Ressari youth, no older than a teenager, stared at him with wide, glassy eyes and whispered, "Is it true they kill to eat?" Aaron paused, meeting the youth's gaze. "Sometimes," he said softly. "But not the way you think." Commander Kaur led him into a research suite, half kitchen, half operating theater. Rows of instruments hovered in magnetic suspension. In the center sat a single table, laid with utensils that shimmered like crystal. "This is the observation chamber. For 72 hours, we will monitor your intake, metabolism, and neural response to various forms of sustenance. We have prepared standard nutrition gels based on your planet's data." Aaron frowned at the bowl of grayish liquid that resembled melted plastic. "You call that food?" "It meets all biochemical needs," Kaur said. Aaron leaned on the counter, his tone dry. "So does concrete if you define need loosely enough." He turned to the equipment, scanning its sensors. "No, Commander. If you want to study humans, you need to see how we actually eat, real ingredients, real cooking." The aliens murmured. One raised a tendril, questioning, "Cooking? As in the application of fire to organic matter?" "Exactly," Aaron said with a grin. "Controlled fire. The first technology that made us who we are." Kaur folded his hands behind his back, his expression unreadable. "Our safety protocols." "Will hold," Aaron interrupted. "You've got environmental dampers and nanite suppression fields. What's the worst that could happen?" "Smoke." The alien stared at him for a long moment before replying, "Very well, Dr. Voss. We will allow one authentic demonstration." Aaron's smile deepened. "Good. Because if I'm going to be your test subject, I'm doing breakfast my way." As technicians scurried to adapt the sterile lab for his request, Aaron unpacked a small box from his bag: earth soil, vacuum-sealed spices, a compact thermal skillet, and preserved strips of bacon. He laid them out carefully, feeling the alien eyes on him like heat lamps. You treat food with reverence, Kor observed, curiosity edging into his tone. Food's not fuel, Aaron replied, eyes focused on the skillet. It's memory. Fire, hunt, harvest, all of it's in here. Every human meal is a story. The alien commander tilted his head. A story about survival? Aaron looked up. A story about winning. The room grew quiet as the skillet ignited with a soft blue flame. The Res-Sari flinched collectively, the primal glow of combustion seemed sacrilegious in their eyes. The smell of cooking fat began to fill the sterile air, a scent rich and primal, cutting through antiseptic purity like a blade. Monitors flickered to life. The alien scientists gasped as biochemical readings spiked. Dopamine, serotonin, cortisol, all rising and falling in complex rhythms. His pleasure centers activate during nutrient preparation, one muttered. He experiences anticipation before consumption. Of course, Aaron said, flipping a strip of bacon. It's not just what we eat, it's the hunt for it, the work to make it better. Evolution rewarded the effort. Kor stepped closer, his eyes reflecting the dancing firelight. And this ritual is common among your kind? Universal, Aaron said simply. We light fire every day, Commander. We mastered death just to taste life a little better. Silence fell. Even the AI monitoring system hesitated before resuming its calm tone. When the meal was done, Aaron placed a single piece of cooked bacon on the table, the aroma filling the air like an ancient song. There you go. Breakfast, human style. No one moved. The alien stared as if the strip might bite back. Kor finally spoke, his voice quiet, reverent. We will begin analysis in the morning. For now, rest, Dr. Voss. Aaron nodded, though he could tell the Res-Sari wouldn't be sleeping soon. As he left the chamber, the smell of cooked meat lingered behind him, a ghost of Earth's first triumph over hunger. In the observation deck, Commander Tarek Kor stood long after the human had gone. His sensors still glowed faintly from exposure to the aroma. He whispered to himself, almost in awe, fire and flesh, and joy. And for the first time in his career, the alien nutritionist felt something unfamiliar, an instinct older than science, a wordless shiver that his species had forgotten millennia ago. Fear. The morning aboard Zanara began with a tension that hummed beneath the sterile air. The observation suite was alive with quiet movement, aliens adjusting scanners, calibrating sensors, and whispering in frequencies that rippled faintly through the glass. Dr. Aaron Voss stood at the center, sleeves rolled up, the faint hiss of a portable skillet breaking the silence. He looked entirely out of place among them, broad-shouldered, unarmored, his dark hair tied back, a smirk playing at the edge of his mouth. He wasn't a soldier, but he carried himself like one, relaxed, coiled, unpredictable. Commander Tarek Kor stood opposite him, composed and cautious, his translucent crest shifting hues that the translator described as analytical curiosity. Begin, Kor said, the single word rippling through the translators. Aaron cracked an egg against the skillet's rim. The aliens flinched as the yolk hit the surface with a sizzle that sounded, to them, too alive. The aroma spread quickly, golden and rich. The human begins by destroying a potential offspring of an avian organism, one researcher murmured, documenting every motion. Aaron didn't look up. We call it breakfast. The remark drew a few puzzled glances. To him it was humor. To them it was philosophy. He dropped a slice of bacon next and the oil began to pop. Several Res-Sari stepped back involuntarily as the sound triggered ancient memories of predators and fire. Kor remained still, though Aaron could see the faint ripple in his crest, bioluminescent nerves reacting to alarm. You seem nervous, Commander, Aaron said, flipping the bacon casually. Kor folded his hands. Fire is a symbol of destruction to us. We have long abandoned combustion-based technologies. Its unpredictability disturbs many species. Aaron smiled. That's the difference between you and us. Fire's unpredictable, sure, but it listens if you know how to talk to it. He tilted the pan, letting the flames lick the edges before settling. The bacon darkened, curled, and crackled. The scent grew stronger, heavy, and intoxicating. Across the room, monitors painted the air with data, spikes of human endorphins, neurotransmitter bursts, and chemical interactions that defied the Res-Sari's understanding of nutrition. Your metabolic system responds to anticipation, said one of the assistants, astonished. You experience pleasure before consumption. Aaron poured coffee from a compact percolator, the liquid steaming like captured sunlight. That's motivation, he said. You don't survive as long as we did without learning to love the wait. He took a sip. The caffeine surge registered instantly. Aliens murmured as they watched his pupils constrict, heart rate accelerate, brain activity surge. Core tilted his head. You willingly ingest stimulants that induce heightened alertness and cardiovascular stress? Every morning, Aaron said, lowering the cup. Sometimes twice. The researchers began to exchange hurried notes. One of them, a pale eel-like being with translucent skin, requested permission to test a sample. Core nodded. The alien dipped a thin probe into the black liquid, analyzed it, and immediately collapsed as if struck. The sensors beeped wildly. Aaron caught the creature before it hit the floor. You all right? The alien blinked weakly. My veins burn. Yeah, Aaron said, helping him to a reclining chair. That's caffeine for you. Builds character. Core was at his side instantly, scanning the downed researcher. His crest glowed bright green, concern. Dr. Voss, your substances are toxic to half the known sentient races in the galaxy. Aaron shrugged, returning to the skillet. That's why you're studying us, right? We built our biology to handle toxins. Our planet tried to kill us from day one. Such resilience, Core muttered. You adapt to poison and pain with equal ease. Your digestive system borders on weaponized. The commander's tone wasn't mocking, it was admiration wrapped in unease. Aaron plated the food, setting the steaming eggs and bacon before the scanners. You're thinking of this wrong, he said. You're measuring nutrients, energy yield, efficiency. But food isn't about efficiency. It's about control. Every bite's a reminder that we can take something wild and make it ours. Core regarded him in silence. You mean domination? I mean survival, Aaron corrected. We learned to turn the world into something edible. That's the only reason we're still here. Core walked a slow circle around the table, scanning the meal with his instruments. The readings confused even the AI. The oils, the acids, the compounds, many are mildly toxic, yet your systems process them as nourishment. Because that's how we were built, Aaron said. We weren't the biggest or fastest, so we became the ones who could eat anything, endure everything. He sat down and began to eat, unhurried, each bite punctuated by the soft hum of alien machinery analyzing every motion. The rest could not look away. It was an act of primal intimacy, a creature consuming, transforming, asserting dominance over the world in the most basic way possible. When he finished, Aaron leaned back, wiping his mouth. So, Commander, what do your scans say? Core's eyes flickered as data poured into his translator. Your caloric efficiency is exceptional. Your enzymes neutralize toxins through chemical reconfiguration. Neural readings show simultaneous activation of pain and pleasure centers. It's paradoxical. Aaron smiled. That's humanity in a nutshell. Core's crest dimmed. Your species evolved through suffering. Through endurance, Aaron said softly. We learned to make pain productive. The alien stood still for a long moment, the silence broken only by the hum of the sensors. Around them, the other scientists retreated to their stations, overwhelmed by data that challenged everything they thought they knew about life. Core finally spoke, voice low. When we study carnivores, they exhibit hunger as aggression. Herbivores as necessity. You exhibit it as ritual. That's because food is history, Aaron replied. Every meal remembers the ones who came before us. The hunters. The gatherers. The ones who starved so others could learn to cook better. Core exhaled slowly, though his species didn't need air in the human sense. It seems your kind consumes not just to survive, but to celebrate survival. Aaron smiled faintly. Now you're getting it. The alien commander turned toward the lab window, watching the planet's storms churn in the distance. You said yesterday that fire listens if one knows how to speak to it. That's right. Core looked back, his gaze unreadable. What language does it understand? Aaron met his eyes. Ours? The silence that followed was heavy, almost reverent. The alien commander studied him for several seconds, as though glimpsing something vast and dangerous beneath the calm exterior. Finally, Core deactivated the scanners. We will continue our analysis after the midday cycle. There is much to consider. Aaron gathered his equipment, slipping the percolator back into his pack. As he walked toward the exit, he noticed that none of the rest moved until he was gone, as if the act of eating itself had marked the space as his territory. Outside the chamber, Core remained still, staring at the plate. The remnants of the meal, browned oil, steam, the faint smell of salt and smoke, lingered like ghosts. He turned to his assistant. Catalog every molecule, he ordered quietly, and increase the environmental filters. I want no trace of combustion left aboard. The assistant hesitated. Commander, may I ask, are we proceeding with the next meal cycle? Kor's eyes narrowed. Yes, but with caution. We have studied predators before, yet none that smiled while they fed. And somewhere deep in the alien's voice, beneath layers of composure and reason, was the smallest tremor of something he couldn't define, something ancient, instinctive, and uncomfortably familiar. It was the first taste of fear that the Resari had felt in centuries. The next cycle began with silence. The observation suite remained dim, its sterile lights reduced to a soft silver glow that rippled across the walls like liquid metal. Commander Tarek Kor had not slept. His crest flickered faintly, colors shifting through shades of violet, a Resari signal of restless thought. Before him hovered a holographic projection, the human genome rotating slowly in pale blue. Each data strand pulsed with chaotic elegance. The pattern refused to conform to any standard evolutionary model. Aaron arrived, cup of coffee in hand, casual as ever. "Morning, Commander," he said, taking a seat across from the alien. "Or whatever you people call this hour." Kor's gaze did not leave the display. "Your species confounds us," he said quietly. "You metabolize compounds that should destroy cell integrity. You thrive in climates that sterilize most carbon life. Your sensory systems adapt to pain as though it were training." Aaron took a sip. "That's one way to describe getting through a work week." Kor ignored the joke. "We reviewed your evolutionary record. It is brutal. No other sentient lineage displays such sustained environmental hostility. Yet instead of extinction you advanced. I must understand how." Aaron leaned back, regarding him with the faintest hint of sympathy. "You really want to know?" "I require understanding," Kor said simply. "We cannot classify a species we do not comprehend." Aaron set down his cup and gestured toward the hologram. "Then pull up Earth's Pleistocene data. Temperature swings, predation indexes, food scarcity cycles." Kor complied. The holographic field bloomed into a rotating globe of Earth, its surface scarred by ice and drought. Herds of massive beasts thundered across plains. Early humans, small, fragile compared to their prey, moved in coordinated lines. "There," Aaron said. "That's us. Naked, slow, soft. The galaxy's least likely survivor." "Yet you endured," Kor murmured. "How?" Aaron's eyes sharpened. "Because we learned to outlast everything else. We didn't need claws or fangs. We had lungs. We could run something to exhaustion over days. Every creature we chased eventually collapsed. We didn't overpower them. We just refused to quit." Kor's crest flared pale green, astonishment. "Endurance, predation. Your species hunted through persistence." Aaron nodded. "We became patient predators. We studied our prey, tracked it for miles, learned its behavior. And when we caught it, we learned how to cook it, how to make it safe, how to make it last." Kor adjusted the hologram, projecting chemical simulations of cooked versus raw meat. The data glowed crimson and gold. Cooking increases caloric efficiency by nearly 40%. It reduces disease vectors and improves nutrient absorption. "Exactly," Aaron said. "Fire didn't just keep us warm. It rewired our biology, made our brains bigger, gave us the energy to think beyond survival." The alien was silent for a long moment, his crest dimming to contemplative blue. "You turned predation into art." Aaron smiled faintly. "We turned survival into culture." The hologram shifted again. Cities rising, wars burning, agriculture spreading like veins across continents. "And then you consumed your own ecosystems," Kor said softly. "You conquered not only prey but the very systems that sustained you." Aaron's tone hardened. "Conquered, sure. But we also learned restraint. Civilization's just a fancy word for learning when not to eat everything." The alien's expression didn't change, but something in his posture softened. "We once thought ourselves evolved beyond hunger. We no longer consume living matter directly. We synthesize nutrients. We believed that was enlightenment." "Maybe it is," Aaron said, standing to stretch. "Or maybe it's just forgetting what it cost to live in the first place." Kor followed his movements, his analytical composure slipping into something more personal. "Your people remember that cost." "Every day," Aaron replied. "We don't just eat to live. We eat to remember that we survived when we shouldn't have." Kor turned back to the hologram, studying early humans clustered around a fire. "It is strange," he said almost to himself. "You worship the element that destroyed most species." Aaron shrugged. "We made a deal with it. Feed it and it keeps the dark away." A brief silence followed. The hum of the lab filled it, soft and constant. Finally, Kor gestured toward a display projecting human neurochemistry. Our scans reveal your species associates consumption with communal bonding. Eating together increases oxytocin levels and stabilizes aggression patterns. Aaron chuckled. That's dinner time for you. You learn to trust people when they share fire and food. Our ancestors knew it. Nothing brings peace like a full stomach. Your hunger built your society, Core said slowly. It shaped your empathy as much as your aggression. Exactly. Predators with compassion, Aaron said. It's a weird mix, but it works. The alien regarded him for several seconds, the faint hum of the ship vibrating between them. In our studies, apex predators rarely achieve empathy. Their survival depends on dominance, not cooperation. Yet you possess both. That's the trick, Aaron replied. We learned that cooperation is the ultimate hunt strategy. We turned packs into tribes, tribes into nations. We stopped hunting animals and started hunting ideas. Core considered this. And yet your species still wages war. Aaron's eyes flickered with something between pride and regret. Old instincts die hard. But so does hope. We fight, we rebuild, we eat, we share. The cycle never stopped, it just evolved. Core dimmed the holograms and stood. I see now why the other researchers are unsettled. Your species embodies the duality of creation and consumption. You devour but you also nurture. You kill but you remember. There is purpose even in your hunger. Aaron lifted his cup again, now empty. That's our curse and our gift. We don't know how to stop wanting more. The alien watched him for a moment longer, then asked quietly, and what happens when there is nothing left to hunt? Aaron smiled, slow and dangerous. Then we'll find something new to chase. Core's crest flickered in response, a color somewhere between fear and fascination. The data he had gathered defied every expectation of biology, every law of survival he had ever known. He realized that humanity was not just a species that ate for energy, it was a species that ate to evolve. Commander? One of the junior researchers called from the door. We've completed the analysis of Dr. Voss's chemical tolerance tests. His system neutralized all compounds in record time. Core dismissed him with a nod, his gaze still locked on the human. Dr. Voss, he said slowly, I believe I understand now why your people endure. You are not merely omnivores. You are apex adaptives, consuming challenge itself. Aaron grinned. Glad you're catching on. Core turned off the lights, leaving only the pale glow of the planet below. Tomorrow, he said quietly, we host a demonstration dinner. The Concord's scientific delegation will attend. They wish to see what we have seen. Aaron stretched, the corners of his mouth curving upward. Good. Let's give them something they won't forget. As the human left the chamber, Core remained behind, staring at the faint trail of scent that lingered in the air, coffee, smoke, and something intangible yet unmistakably alive. For the first time in his long academic life, he found himself questioning not the data but his own nature. He whispered softly into the silence, perhaps enlightenment was not the absence of hunger, but the mastery of it. The planet below turned slowly, vast and indifferent. Somewhere in that endless storm, the alien realized that humanity's secret was not domination, it was defiance. And he knew the next meal would not be mere study. It would be revelation. The galley aboard Zanara had never been used for anything resembling a meal. It was a sterile compartment designed for nutrient synthesis. No smells, no textures, no fire. Yet that morning the chamber had been transformed. Long tables were cleared, sensors embedded in the ceiling, and an emergency containment field calibrated in case the humans' culinary process became hazardous. The Resari delegation waited with uneasy stillness, their eyes flicking between the human and the heat source he had insisted on using. Dr. Aaron Voss moved with practiced ease, unpacking ingredients like relics from a forgotten age, salt, oil, herbs, thinly sliced vegetables, and a sealed package of preserved meat. The air already felt different, warmer, alive. Commander Tarek Core stood at a distance, hands clasped behind his back. His composure was steady, but his crest shimmered faintly with anticipation. Dr. Voss, the Concord delegation is observing via HoloLink, he said. They expect a demonstration, not an incident. Good, Aaron replied, setting the pan on the heating surface. They'll get both. The sound of ignition filled the galley. Fire bloomed in a neat, blue whisper. The Resari flinched as one, their pupils contracting to slits. To them, flame was ancient terror, a reminder of forests burned and civilizations reborn in ash. Aaron saw the fear ripple through them and felt something tighten in his chest. It wasn't mockery he felt, it was understanding. They had forgotten how to stand close to danger without breaking. He poured oil into the pan, the liquid hissing and spitting as it met heat. What you're about to see, he said, his voice calm, isn't just cooking. It's control. The balance between destruction and creation. Kor approached cautiously, drawn despite himself. Your people tamed this chaos, he murmured. Aaron nodded. We didn't tame it. We learned to dance with it. The meat hit the pan. The sizzle roared like static, sharp and alive. A wave of scent rolled through the room, thick with smoke and salt and something primal. Several Resari stumbled back, their bodies reacting instinctively to the olfactory memory of predation. But none left. Curiosity anchored them in place. Monitors blinked as data poured in, temperature fluctuations, molecular breakdowns, and biochemical transformations too complex for simple classification. The humans' hands moved with confident precision, turning, seasoning, adjusting. Every action carried purpose, every gesture a reflection of centuries of refinement. Aaron spoke as he worked. When we started cooking, it wasn't about taste. It was survival. Raw meat could kill. Fire made it safe. But once we understood that, we realized something else. It made it better. Kor watched, fascinated. You found pleasure in transformation. Exactly, Aaron said. We learned that the same force that destroys can also create beauty. That's what food is to us, a reminder that we conquered fear by making it useful. The Resari's translators rendered his words in their melodic tones, and several of them trembled at the implication. One finally spoke, voice fragile. You turned death into celebration. Aaron didn't answer immediately. He plated the cooked meat, arranging it beside the vegetables in a way that looked more ritual than routine. We turned survival into meaning, he said quietly. Every meal is proof that we're still here. The alien delegation leaned forward, captivated by the interplay of color and scent. Even through filtered respirators they could sense it, the richness, the life embedded in every molecule. Kor hesitated, then extended a hand toward the plate. May I? Aaron looked at him, gauging. It's not exactly compatible with your biology. I adjusted it, microdoses of protein, safe levels for testing. Kor's crest flickered amber, the Resari equivalent of courage. For science, he said. Aaron grinned. For dinner. The alien lifted a fork, a tool that felt crude and primitive in his long fingers, and took a small bite. The reaction was immediate. His pupils dilated, his crest shone with pulses of bioluminescent gold, and he staggered back as if struck. His assistants rushed forward, but he raised a hand to stop them. No, he said, voice unsteady. I am unharmed. He looked at Aaron with something beyond comprehension, something between fear and awe. This taste, it is unlike any synthesis, any formula. It is alive. Aaron folded his arms, satisfied. That's because it's not designed. It's earned. Kor swallowed, the translation device struggling to keep up with the nuances of his tone. I understand now why the others feared you. You consume the universe not out of need, but because you can. Because we must, Aaron corrected softly. Every generation learns from the one before, what to eat, what to burn, what to keep. It's the only way we move forward. Kor turned toward the hololink. On the holographic display, representatives from a dozen alien species watched in stunned silence. The data is clear, he announced. Humans are not inefficient omnivores. They are apex sustainers, capable of transforming consumption into art, hunger into innovation. The delegates murmured among themselves. Some sounded wary, others reverent. Aaron wiped his hands on a towel and leaned against the counter, studying their reactions. You see, Commander, it's never been about what we eat. It's about what we make of it. Fire, food, even war, they're all the same story. We take chaos and give it purpose. Kor looked down at the plate before him. The remnants of the meal steamed softly in the filtered air. You make the act of survival beautiful, he said. Aaron smiled. We try. The silence that followed was unlike the earlier tension. It was reverent. The kind of stillness that only comes when something fundamental shifts. The Resari scientists recorded their data, their instruments quietly blinking, but no one spoke for several minutes. Finally, one of the delegates on the hololink broke the quiet. Human, she said, her tone cautious yet curious, would your people be willing to share these methods? This art of controlled chaos. Aaron glanced at Kor, who met his gaze with a mix of respect and uncertainty. We can share what we know, Aaron said slowly, but you'll have to accept what it means. Once you light the fire, you can't unlearn what it teaches. The delegate's image flickered, her eyes unreadable. Perhaps that is what the galaxy needs, to remember hunger. Kor turned off the link, leaving only the faint hum of the ship. They will study this for centuries, he said. You've changed more than they realize. Aaron chuckled softly. That's humanity for you. We show up for dinner and accidentally rewrite the rules. Kor studied him for a long moment, then said quietly, You have given us something we thought we lost, wonder. Aaron picked up the cooling skillet, glancing toward the viewport where the storms of the gas giant churned below. Then we're even, he said. You reminded me what it feels like to be seen as dangerous again. The alien commander's crest dimmed to a calm shade of blue, a sign of reflection. There is danger, he said, and then there is reverence. I am not sure which your species deserves more. Aaron smiled faintly. Maybe both. The galley lights dimmed as the containment field shut down. Smoke coiled upward like incense from an ancient altar, the scent lingering in the air long after the last flame had died. Kor stood motionless as Aaron walked away, his voice echoing faintly down the corridor. Tomorrow, the human said, you'll see why we don't just eat. We feast. Kor watched him go, the taste of the meal still haunting his senses. For the first time in centuries, the alien felt something impossible to quantify, a hunger that had nothing to do with sustenance. It was the hunger to understand. And he realized, with a shiver he could not suppress, that the study was no longer about food. It was about the nature of power itself. The Galactic Concord Assembly Chamber was immense, its walls stretching in smooth arcs high above the delegates who had gathered from dozens of star systems. Light shimmered across the polished surfaces, reflecting the kaleidoscopic crests of alien species, each shimmering with unique bioluminescence. At the center, a holographic dais floated, projecting live data streams from the observation aboard Zanara. It was the culmination of months of research, and all eyes turned to the human representative standing calmly in the middle of the chamber, Dr. Aaron Voss. Beside him, Commander Tarek Kor's crest pulsed with controlled intensity. He had never witnessed an assembly this diverse, and yet, he felt an almost involuntary alignment with the human at his side. Kor had long studied apex species and yet, for the first time, he saw one that could rival his analytical comprehension while remaining utterly unpredictable. Aaron cleared his throat, his voice carrying easily despite the vastness of the chamber. Delegates, you requested a study of human nutrition. What you've seen aboard Zanara was only a glimpse. He allowed a pause, letting the weight of his words sink in. Humans are not merely omnivores. We are adaptive predators. We eat to survive, yes, but also to understand, to transform, and to celebrate that survival. The room remained quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the Concorde's energy systems. Some delegates leaned forward, suspicion etched into their postures. Others flickered in hues that betrayed fascination. Kor stepped forward, his voice calm, yet carrying an authority that made even the largest species in the chamber still. Analysis confirms what Dr. Voss has demonstrated. Humans possess metabolic flexibility unmatched by any species in the galactic records. Their digestive and neural systems process toxins, neurostimulants, and complex compounds simultaneously, converting them into both energy and pleasure. They exhibit endurance, predation, behavioral sophistication, and cultural ritual surrounding consumption. In short, they are apex adaptive organisms. A ripple ran through the assembly. The concept was unprecedented. Apex species were typically singular, dominant in a narrow ecological niche. Humans defied that template. They were predators but also creators, strategists, and innovators. Aaron gestured toward the floating hollow projection, now cycling through images of Earth, icy plains, rain-soaked jungles, hunting parties, kitchens, markets, and communal tables where fire illuminated the faces of humans laughing, arguing, and sharing. Every meal we eat tells a story. The hunt, the fire, the harvest. Our survival depends not just on consumption, but on adaptation, cooperation, and endurance. We do not merely eat, we evolve with every bite. A representative from a crystalline species spoke, her voice ringing with curiosity. Dr. Voss, are you saying that human consumption is deliberate? Beyond necessity? Aaron nodded. Every meal is deliberate. It is a ritual that remembers the past and shapes the future. We consume challenges, and in doing so we train ourselves, sharpen our instincts, and honor the life we take. Our biology, our culture, and our ingenuity are inseparable. Hunger is not a weakness for humans, it is a tool. The Galactic Concord Assembly Chamber was vast, its polished walls reflecting the bioluminescent crests of countless alien delegates. At the center stood Dr. Aaron Voss, calm and measured, while Commander Tarek Kor's crest pulsed with a mixture of pride and unease. Aaron addressed the assembly. You asked to study human nutrition. What you've seen is only a glimpse. Humans are not mere omnivores. We are adaptive predators. We eat to survive, but also to understand, transform, and celebrate that survival. Core stepped forward. Analysis confirms what Dr. Voss demonstrates. Humans process toxins and complex compounds simultaneously, exhibit endurance predation, and integrate ritual and culture into consumption. They are apex adaptive organisms. A murmur ran through the chamber. Apex species were normally narrow and predictable. Humans were not. Aaron gestured to floating holoprojections of Earth, hunting, kitchens, communal tables. Every meal tells a story. Fire, hunt, harvest. Survival refined into ritual. We eat, we adapt, we evolve. A crystalline delegate asked, beyond necessity? Aaron nodded. Every meal is deliberate. Hunger is not weakness, it is a tool. We learn, we cooperate, we endure. Predators with empathy. That is humanity. Core's crest shimmered. In centuries of study, we have never observed a species combining efficiency, adaptability, and consciousness in this way. Humans integrate survival, pleasure, and community. They are incomparable. The Concord chair inquired, should humans be integrated? Core's voice was firm. They must be respected and approached with caution. They are Tier 0 strategic species, apex adaptive organisms that cannot be controlled without consent. Aaron glanced to the viewport, the gas giant swirling below. We don't eat to live. We live because we know how to eat. We endure, adapt, and rise. Nothing in the galaxy can take that from us. Core observed the human quietly. Your species is terrifying. Aaron smiled. Terrifying enough to survive. That's all that matters. The galaxy understood at last. Humans were predators who celebrated life, hunted with ingenuity, and mastered survival itself. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars, not through conquest alone, but by turning life into an art of endurance, cunning, and purpose.